Hi. Today, I decided to do something different. I'm just going to do a Q&A session. So I posted a question, which was, if you could ask me anything, be a fly on the wall in my life or my business, what would you ask me? And so I have a list of questions that I am going to answer today. But here's why I'm doing this, because oftentimes people they don't show the journey. They only talk about success as they arrive. It looks like from the outside that they just woke up one morning and success was all over them. And for me, this has been a journey. It's been a huge journey. And I like to share things that I wish other people would have shared with me along the way, because it would have helped me get past some pitfalls. So let's get into these questions. Okay, so I'm going to start with the very first question that I received, and it was from Brandy. I'm just going to give first names. It's from Brandy. So Brandy's question was about self-esteem. And what she asked me was, what work was necessary to increase my self-esteem? So I'm going to read her question. What work has been necessary to increase your self-esteem, to calibrate to such a deep knowing of success and confidence? So I'm going to give you some strategies that I use. And it seems like most people ask a question somewhere around this vein. So what that lets me know is that you guys have some wavering in your certainty about your purpose, your certainty about the goals that you have for your life and your business. And so I'm going to be sharing a lot of my behind the scenes with that. But I want to share this. I did a post a few years back, and I can't remember exactly how I said it. I should have looked it up. But I said something to the effect that before the truth can set you free, you must discern the lie that is holding you back. Before the truth can set you free, you must discern the lie that is holding you back. So people were like, the truth will set you free. Sometimes we're so caught up in the chatter that is not for us in our own heads, not just outside. See, we're good with other people. Other people will tell us naysaying things, and we are all over them with, no, I'm not about that life. But ourselves, it's the things that you secretly say to yourself when no one else is around, that you think no one can hear, that's likely the biggest culprit to stopping you from anchoring deep belief. And so it's super important to anchor in and to have things in place to pattern interrupt those types of thoughts from yourself. So I want to share this. Hey, y'all. So the first thing that I always share, and here's the thing about me. I don't teach or share anything from a place of like, I'm way up here. I'm usually going through the same things you guys are going through. It's just a different version. I'm going to talk about that in a second. But I also only teach and share things that I actually do and implement in my life. It's what has worked for me. So I've walked through this path, and then I've handed these formulas to other people. And it has been incredible for me to witness. I'm like, oh my gosh, so my life was about this. My life was about me walking this path and then handing this formula and handing this roadmap to others so that they can do the same thing. And so facts over feelings is something that I always share. Facts over feelings. If I can keep myself rooted in what's truth, which is why I said before the truth can set you free, you must discern the lie that is holding you back. Facts over feelings, I only look at the reality of what I'm currently creating, not how I feel about it. I'm a consummate overachiever. And so for me, I can constantly push my goal line. You know, when I was younger, I knew I wanted to be a multimillionaire. That was like the biggest goal. Now that goal has grown tremendously, kind of crazy. But I knew that there was this deep purpose inside of me to impact millions of people. And so I would always be like looking at that end goal, so much so that I never really looked at what I was creating in the moment. I have done some incredible things over my life. I was looking at a post one of my clients did the other day where she was talking about how she would always admire people who sit on boards. And now she's a person who sits on boards. I used to sit on boards when I was in my 20s. Like, it's crazy, this stuff that I've done in my life that I have discounted because I was looking at this ultimate goal. And what happens when you do that? So in college, I graduated, I didn't walk. I was like, give me my paper. That's not the last thing on my thing to do. That's just a blip on the radar. Just send me the stuff in the mail. I don't need to walk. I'm going to go keep moving. And so what happens is you keep moving the goal line faster and faster. You do a 6-figure month and you're like, oh my gosh, I got to do a $500,000 month. You do a 6-figure year and you're like, I got to get to $1 million. And you keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And what that does is it gives you the illusion that you're not succeeding. It gives you the illusion that you're not accomplishing anything, right? And that's where the limiting belief comes from. I'm not doing enough. I'm not there yet. This is great, but I'm not where I want to be. And so what I do is I anchor in the facts. I anchor in the facts. The facts are, this is what you have accomplished. Like, here's some facts for you guys for business. If you don't know this, more than 50%, I would say right at 50% of all people who ever start a business never make more than $25,000 in a year. 50%, half of them. So if you're making more than $25,000 a year, you are winning. Only 6% only ever cross 6 figures. So if you are a business owner who is already creating 6 figures, which to me is that's like the barely scratching the surface of a viable business. If you're doing 6 figures in business, you are doing greater than 94% of the business owners that you're looking at around you. Those are facts, right? If you have crossed $1 million, or even if you're crossed $500,000, there's only 3% of people that have a business that have ever done that. You got to get into reality. Like for me, I'm holding this vision for a $30 million business company, right? And so when I look at where I am and I look at people who are at the $30 million level, it's easy for me to push the chasm and go, wow, I'm so far behind. I've got to catch up. I got to get a team. I got to have this. I got to have that. Right. But I have to be rooted in fact. The fact is, girlfriend, you winning and you winning big. Now, let me put that into women. The percentages are even low. Let me put that into people of color, especially Black people or Black women. I'm winning and doing the most. Right. So you got to anchor in facts over feelings. And that helps you calibrate faster. The second thing is evidence, right? So evidence, what I'm doing is I'm looking around me for the evidence that I'm already winning. This is why we celebrate so much inside of my communities. It's why you see me celebrate my wins and my clients' wins publicly, right? Some of y'all feel some kind of way about that stuff. I don't get a lot of messages about it, but I could tell. It makes you uncomfortable, right? But the thing is, we've been told so often that we can't celebrate our wins, that it's braggy and all of those things. And so when we do have wins, we hide it and it perpetuates the illusion that we're not winning. So we need to start acknowledging the awesome, badass, brilliant things you need to start acknowledging, because I do. Start acknowledging the awesome, brilliant, badass things that you actually are doing in your life. Right? If you are somebody who's building a business and you have a client, hell, celebrate the client, right? The evidence is, oh, somebody's willing to buy from me, right? So the evidence is all around, but because the evidence doesn't look like the big, bad, bodacious ass goal, then what happens is we discount it and we are like, oh, but I'm not there yet. So I'm always looking for evidence that I'm winning, even in the small things. I can pull into a parking lot, and when the parking space is in the front, I'm celebrating like heck. I'm like, yes, because everything I do, like whatever I want, I can just manifest that, even if it's a parking spot. And I live in that, right? So I used to keep an evidence book of clients when this was a real problem for me. It's not so much anymore because I'm always grabbing evidence of who I am in the world and the success that I have. It's part of how I market my business. And so it's more present of mind for me. But what I used to do is keep like a brag book or an evidence book. What I would do is write down anytime a client sent me a message. Like even now, I get messages from clients that I never share with you about how their lives have transformed in so many different ways. And it just reminds me that what I'm doing is purposeful, that it's not just about money, and that everything that I've been through to this point has been for a reason. It's been for that. I'm like, wow, for this moment. And so what I do is people send me messages. It's a scrapbook of those messages. I used to actually have an actual book. You can do it online if you want to. And whenever I was feeling like I didn't believe anymore, I would go read those messages. I would go look at the results that I actually helped people to create, right? And I had to get factual about it. You know, a lot of times we're like, well, I don't want to take credit for people's results. You're not. But the reality of it is, if so-and-so hadn't engaged with you before that, they were only doing this. After you, this is what it looks like. That's a reality, right? That's fact. And so keeping that evidence, just accumulating it, no matter how small it is, was enough for me to go, stop having this conversation with yourself about whether or not it's going to happen, all of those things, because the people are showing up. You are doing the work, right? You're transforming lives. The last thing about limiting beliefs and recalibrating your mind, and a lot of you ask questions like this, so that's why I'm staying on this so long, because I think I'm going to answer a lot of the questions. I did. So a lot of people talk about mindset work, and I talk about it differently. I don't believe in going back to the past and looking at the past to try to change or fix anything. There may be like some forgiveness that needs to happen, mostly for yourself. Things you need to release, or ties you need to cut, or cords you need to touch or cut with like ancestral beliefs. Like for me, being a Black woman, the fact that we believe that you have to work hard or that everyone else comes before you was one of the things that stopped me from succeeding in my business for many ways. It kept me undercharging. It kept me pretending like I wasn't as successful as I was, so I wouldn't share with people. So many different things. Little Black girls like you from the hood don't make that kind of money. That was a huge, deep story for me. I can't with you, Stephanie. Yes. I love it. This is like my new swag. Did you see my ring? Yeah, I'm totally in left field right now, guys. Anyway, so remember when I was talking about facts? Actually, Stephanie is one of the people who helped me get factual about my own desires in my own life, because I was believing this lie and had so much ties to those beliefs that I had anchored. Like it wasn't happening for me for so many years that I started downplaying what I really wanted to create in the world. And I got on a sales call with Steph. I don't know, maybe it was 4 years ago. I don't know, Steph, was it 4 years ago? And I told her, I just want to make $500,000. I'm like, I'm doing 6 figures. We're close to hitting multiple 6 figures for the year. And I want to make $500,000. And might have been 5 years ago. I don't know. It's been a long time. And she said, well, what are you doing on the phone with me? And I was like, what? Well, I didn't say that out loud, but I was just like, okay, this is hitting me. Like, what do I need to hear in this moment? And she's like, I only work with people who want to do millions. $500,000 isn't going to do anything for you. And in that moment, it woke up the reality. So I paused for a moment, and we had a real deep conversation about why I started settling for smaller goals. Why? And all of this is like belief systems, right? And so I don't believe in rewiring the brain and going back and looking at the past. I believe in installing a new mind. We start from where you are and what you want to create. Stop looking back. And so a lot of things I do is I do listen to subliminals and binaurals. I don't do it as much anymore, but I'm about to, because I'm realizing a new devil has come up for me. And so now I'm listening to binaural audios, are audios that bypass your monkey mind, your limbic brain. That's like, no, you can't do that. No, that's not true. So they have messages coming from you in all directions in different tonations, so that it actually gets into your brain when your brain is awake and active. And so I'm listening to one about becoming a billionaire, or about being a billionaire. The millionaire ones, I believe every bit of it, right? It's all true now. It wasn't true when I started. I also listen to subliminals at night, the ones that are super, super quiet, that really get past your brain while you're sleeping, right? To rewire those new beliefs and new thoughts. I had to do them around self-worth. around clients showing up who are willing to pay me, and around being comfortable with money. That money is it's for me and not against me. That money just flows to me in all sorts of ways. That it's in my bank account. I have more than enough money, because I was living in this state of just enough or not enough, like paycheck to paycheck, client to client. So you want to install a new mind and not work on like, oh, well, this person did this to me and this happened in my life, because all you're doing is focusing on the past, and all you're going to do is perpetuate more of whatever that emotion is that creates that. And we create based on emotion and desire. What you got to understand is that every new level that you go to, it's not new level, new devil. Like people think new level, new devil. It's new level, same devil. So the same thing that stopped me from creating my first 6 figures is the same thing that tried to stop me from creating my first million. And it will be the same thing that will show up again as I'm creating multiple millions, or, creating tens of millions of dollars in my business. So, and for me, it's self-worth. It's a self-worth conversation. It's a shame conversation. It's the same thing. So once you discern the lie that's holding you back, remember what I said? Before the truth can set you free, you must discern the lie that's holding you back. You got to get real. Stop pretending. Stop sending your representative to the show. Get real. Get real about the secret conversations you're having with yourself. This isn't about buying into the doubt or the stories. It's acknowledging what is so that you can deal with it. So that you can deal with it. The last piece of this, getting rid of the limited mindset that I'm going to share, and again, I think this answers a lot of people's questions, is I had to allow myself to be successful now. To allow myself to feel the success that I had created now. Remember, I talked about pushing the goal line. I talked about, if I have a $30 million goal or a multi-million-dollar business goal, and you're doing 6 figures and you're like, dang, I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. All you're doing is perpetuating the not having it. Let me see if I can slow this down for you, because this is some like quantum physics kind of that might mess your mind up, right? So you get what you focus on. Seeds produce fruit. Any seeds that you sow in lack are going to produce lack. If I plant an apple tree, I'm going to get it. If I plant an apple seed, I'm going to get apples. Plant pineapples, I'm going to get pineapples, right? If I plant pears, I'm going to get pears. Strawberries, right? Same thing. A lot of you are in a deficit with where you are in your life and in your business. And all you focus on is the deficit. You're always grinding. You're always talking about how you're trying to get there, all of those things. And you haven't taken time to look at the success you created now, right? Remember, seeds produce fruit. So if you're never there, you're never going to be there. If you're never there, you're never going to be there. And so what we want is to be in the success of now. Because what happens is you're in the success now, which means you're successful now, which means you're always perpetually successful, which means all that has to happen is you expand it to the next level of success and the next level of success. You're not creating from a deficit. I'm sorry, this is cracking me up because this is some powerful stuff, and I hope you're picking up what I'm laying down. So I had a pastor back in the day that used to say, it was about tithing and about having a car. He would use it as an example. So if you aren't tithing with, your $10,000 that you're making a year, I'm just making this up. You're not going to tithe when you make 100,000, because people are like, when I get here, I'm going to do this. So you're always in a deficit, right? If you want a new car, take care of the car that you have. You want better clients? Serve the hell out of the clients that you have. Look at the success that you currently have instead of looking at it as not enough, because all you're doing is perpetuating not enough. Like, oh, that was great. I had a 6-figure month. Can I do it again? Like all of that stuff is seeds, negative seeds sown in lack that produce more lack and more lack and more lack and more lack. So I had to allow myself to be successful now. I am rich now. I am successful now. Like people will ask crazy questions on the internet. Like, what will you do when you are successful? How will you know when you are rich? Like I'm rich now, right? And that's the state that I live in. And all that happens is I expand into new levels of that success, right? Success amnesia, this state of constant lack, will siphon your self-esteem. It will siphon your confidence and your certainty and so much more. So be in reality about what you have created up until now. Got it? All right. I have a couple of observations that I made from some posts that I've seen on the internet. So here is a question from Chantel. It says, looking back, what was the one thing that gave you belief in yourself beyond God and the knowing? I'm like, is there anything else? What was it that cultivated that belief in that it all would happen for you, so it had no choice but to manifest? So I'm a different kind of person that's wired a different kind of way. I've always lived a life of faith. I'm a God girl. I'm like, God didn't put me on this planet to struggle. God didn't put me on this planet to go through crap. Whatever I'm going through, it's for a reason, a season. So I've always lived that way. So this is a somewhat difficult question for me to answer, in that it assumes that I didn't believe at some points in time. Now, has it been easy to hold the belief? No, sometimes what I saw with my eyes told me otherwise, right? I have always been a money girl. Even when I didn't have money, I was teaching and focusing on money. So it was very difficult to share in those moments until I adopted that same concept that I said, what am I successful in now? Right. And so when I said, is there anything behind God and the knowing? Like, that's it. Sometimes that's all I had to hold on to was the knowing, because the evidence around me did not support multimillion-dollar status. Right. When you don't have a car, when you're going to Starbucks to use their internet to run your business and do calls on instant teleseminar, and you're pushing mute when the grinder thing comes on, the coffee blender, sometimes it's difficult to hold the belief. So all I had was the knowing and the promises of God for my life. And so what I want to say to you, Chantel, is don't discount the power of that. Like, there is something else you got to know in order to hold this belief. Like, my trust in that knowing and God is all I've ever had. All I've ever had is what God's word says for my life. That's what I always held on to. In the moments when it was darkest and bleakest, it was my worship music that got me through. It's the words of those songs. When I listen to those songs now, you'll catch me. You'll catch me at an event. Those songs are on my playlist, right? And I'll go back to those moments when those songs weren't my truth, but they are now. And it'll take me all the way out because I was holding on to that faith. So yeah, I could give you a bunch of lists of all kinds of other things. Like I just gave you a list of things about mindset. But the reality of it is, listen, love, don't discount the power of that knowing that you have inside of you. Forget everybody else and everything else. Even forget what you see with your eyes. And you hold on to that. And you keep moving one foot in front of the other, because it's coming. You keep moving, it's coming. You keep moving, it's coming. All right. Sonia, hey, I see you here. So your question was, did you have periods of financial drought? I just talked about one. Did you have periods of financial drought in your business as you started out and grew into a multi-million-dollar company? If so, how did you navigate these seasons? Also, did you go all in on your business, or were you ever a parallel 9-to-5 business? And no. Okay, so let me answer. So some of that was in the answer that I just said. Like I said, a lot of your questions my answers are pretty much the same for them, but I do. Yes, I've been through plenty of seasons of financial drought, which is why this season is so sweet. God, y'all gonna make me cry. Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. Again, still showing up, still holding the faith, not in a delusional way. Some of y'all delusional. You know, you're doing things that ain't gonna never get you there, hoping that God's gonna one day bless you with the business that you want because you're afraid. You let fear hold you hostage. I've taken many risks. You know, the first coaching program that I invested in was $197. Guess how much I had in my bank account? $197. When I met my coach, Adam Urbanski, who has been my coach for over a decade now. And yeah, I invest in other people as well. But when I met him, I got to his event through my friend Michelle, who wasn't my friend at the time. It was about 12 years ago. And I was on her mailing list, and I didn't understand about mailing lists. My business I had a website, and that was like the bulk of what I did online at the time. So she had a free ticket to his event. Now I understand marketing. It cracks me up, this entire story, because I so wanted to be there, because on his website, his event was $3,000 to attend. And I was reading all about him, doing all this research. And he was just an incredible guy, showing people how to use the internet to do information marketing and make money. And this was an opportunity to be at the event for $47. I sent Michelle, I don't know how many messages, like begging for that ticket. Yet I didn't have the $47. Like, this is how broke I was. So I got the $47, figured it out. She gave me the ticket. Now I had to get to Newport Beach. And so if you've been to my events, you've heard this story before. And so, focus, Shameca, don't start crying. Because this was where it started. Like, this vision has always been inside of me, but this is where I've mastered and honed the mindset stuff, the skill set that I have to this day is from this decision. When I looked around me, it didn't look like it was going to happen. So I take my clunker of a car. I think I was driving a Cadillac at the time. It wasn't my car. We had one car. I think it was a Cadillac. It might've been something else. So think about an old school Cadillac. We called it it was a big blue Cadillac. And so I drive to Newport Beach, and I've got two issues in my head. One, do I want to pull up to this fancy 5-star hotel in this clunker or park somewhere else? But also, I couldn't stay at the hotel. So I stayed at my cousin's house, who at the time I slept on her couch for all 4 days of this event. I drove back and forth from Irvine to Newport Beach every day. I stayed up all night working on the stuff he told us to do in the room. Like, it was crazy. But I remember driving down PCH, thinking to myself, like, this is where like trying to take in the vibes of the ocean and all of that stuff. And I remember pulling off to the side, because here's what I was trying to figure out. I was trying to figure out if it was cheaper for me to pay the $26 in parking for valet, or to put money in the meter and park my car there. So did I have seasons of financial drought? Heck yeah. I ended up parking in the valet. I used to do crazy things at events, like, just eat hors d'oeuvres and stuff like that to save the money. And every night I would stay at the event as long as I could. And then I would drive back to my cousin's house and go back. So yes, I've had seasons of doubts, or seasons of drought. I think around circa 2012, I remember my friend Linda asked me to come to an event and help her work her table. It was in Florida. So I figured out how to get there. When I got there, my card wouldn't work for the room for the entire stay. So I remember two things. And I'm sharing these stories for a reason, guys. But I remember two things. I remember the hotel saying, yes, we'll just charge tonight, because I came from California, and then we'll worry about the next nights when it comes. Somehow, some way I closed the sale, or, some money came into my bank account from a client. I don't remember exactly what happened, but they were able to charge the rest of the room night. But I also didn't have money for food. So I ate, some lunches that were provided at the event. But I remember one of the final nights that I was there, and I think I took a picture. I'm going to have to go search through my files to find it, because I didn't want to forget that moment. And I wanted to be able to tell this story one day. So this is what I'm saying. Did you have seasons of drought, and what did you do about it? I knew in that moment, this was a story that I was going to tell for the future. I was hungry. And so I went downstairs and I think I ended up grabbing like some peanut butter and crackers that they had out as like condiments for something. And I remember snapping a picture and being on the phone with somebody in my family. I don't remember who it was. It could have been my husband. It might have been my daughter. I don't know. And just sharing like how crazy this was and that this had to pass. Like I was having moments, seasons of success and then seasons of deep drought. So yeah, it was a roller coaster of revenue, ups and downs. Let me tell you one of the things that stopped that for me. Like I said, I'm a consummate high achiever and I'm always thinking like problem solving, what's going to work? Can I do something different? And so I was always doing something different. And if it didn't work fast enough, I would shift to the next thing and the next thing, and I would change things up. I would get bored, or I would think, okay, that didn't happen fast enough, so let's try something different. And my coach looked at me one year and he said, you've got something great here. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to do this for a year, not change anything in your business, not do a monkey wrench, like not throw a monkey wrench of things, don't add anything, just do this thing. And so I said, okay, right? When you invest with people, you might want to try to trust them. Some of y'all be fighting. And so I did that. And that was the year I crossed six figures again in my business for the first time in a long time. It had been 8 years almost since I had hit six figures, had that much money come through my hands. I'd been trying for a long time. And I was like, okay, he's on to something. And so I did it again. And then we were, moving into multiple six figures. Like it just started skyrocketing. To this day, I still am teaching and have the same programs that I've had at that point. They've evolved a little and we've changed and added some things to it. But there's something to say about that repetition, right? And so just keep going and keep one foot in front of the other. The lie that successful people just show up successful, it is a lie. And when you buy into that, it's why you're even having these thoughts of wondering if somebody had seasons of drought. Of course they did. I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I didn't even have good credit. So there was no, like, people would be like, can you get a credit card? No, where do you think I'm from? I was born with bad credit. I'm not even going to get in that story. I never had a chance. I'm from the hood. If I told you guys some of the stories, you'd be like, yep, that's kind of how it goes down. So I didn't even have a chance, right? There was no credit. I didn't have a good high paying job. I was literally broke. And everything that I've built to this point, I've built client by client, dollar by dollar. Let me give you a tool that I used in helping me to anchor in, not focusing on the season of drought. One of the things that I used to do is, I got this from someone. Oh, it was Kendall Summerhawk. I'll go ahead and give her credit. I went to one of her events, another event that I went all the way to Arizona, barely had the money to be there, all kinds of stuff. I've always taken a risk on myself, guys. She had us do an exercise where we took $100 bill and we kept it in our wallet to anchor in wealth. I also have something else that I got from her. It's in this drawer. Oh, it's on there. This is the thing that it came in. That she gave us so that we would always feel rich. And so I got a lot of financial PTSD. I used to have a lot of financial PTSD from trying to swipe cards and they didn't work and all that kind of stuff. And so what I would do is I would walk around with this $100 bill in my wallet. I would never spend it. It was crisp. And this is when I was super broke. But I wouldn't spend that $100 bill and would pretend like it wasn't there. Because when I had those moments of anxiety of feeling like I was broke or that I didn't have money, or I would be like, no, I could buy that right now if I wanted to. You have $100. You are not broke. And I would just anchor in that knowing you're not broke. You're not broke. You're not broke. She gave us this. It's crazy. I still have this, but it meant a lot. Because when she gave me this, I was pretty broke. There's gold in here. And so it was just that reminder that even so, like, gold is valuable, right? You guys love this thing? I always had this, and I always had my $100 bill. I wouldn't spend it on anything. I would pretend like it wasn't there. So just something to do so that you can anchor a fact in for yourself. I'm not broke. I have money. I have money. I have money. I have money. That's what I used to do. I'm going to go back through and look at some of the questions that are coming up in chat. So if you guys have questions, go ahead and ask. I'm going to look and see if there's anything else I wanted to cover here. So I think I have 3 questions on here. I'm going to stay, guys, as long as you want to stay. I have a couple of appointments, but I think this is super important. And if you got to bounce and go, you can come back, right? But I really wanted to have this time with you. So let's see. All right. So Deidre asked, she asked a lot of questions, but I had her pick 2. What course or what action did you take early in your business to change your mindset from limiting beliefs to powerhouse you know yourself to be? I've answered that. How did you come up with the programs that you offer? So my programs have always been an answer to a problem that my clients have. I wasn't always worried about naming them as much as I was worried about delivering the result. And so that's the big thing. One, I never sell anything I can't deliver. I'm not going to sell anything I have to Google how somebody else does it in order for me to try to deliver the result. And I see a lot of people doing that because they think it's what they have to sell. My programs have evolved. So Play Big was my flagship program. It no longer is the flagship, but it is probably one of the most powerful things I've ever created. And you could ask anybody who's ever been through it or who's in it. It was a God download. And it works. It's so powerful. But always, answering the question, like 2 things, answering the problem that my clients have that I can solve and getting real about what that was. And I'll tell you what it is in a minute, and it's not what you think. And then only selling what I know I can do like the back of my hand. See, in business, you think you have to do all the pieces of business. Like you got to show people how to start the business. You got to show them how to incorporate or do, like, you got to do all the things, business planning. And then you have to show them how to market. And then you have to show them how to package. No, boo. There's other people that can do those pieces for them. You can just do what you do well. And so this actually happened. I used to sell financial services because I was in the finance world when I lost my business the first time. I used to do business credit. I used to do credit repair, loans, both real estate, commercial real estate, and residential real estate loans, all of that stuff. And so I tried to hold on to that for dear life because I was embarrassed. There was shame behind losing my first business. So when I first met Adam, who was my first coach, well, he wasn't my first coach, but my first like real business coach. I had a coach before that, which was the $197 program. When I first met him, that's what I was selling. I was doing business credit seminars. I've posted some pictures of those old seminars. You can see them on there. And then I started doing sales for Adam, I think in 2012. He had asked me, that guy always comes on Tuesday. He gets on my nerves. I was doing sales for him. He had asked me several times during, a few of our mastermind calls if I would work for him. And I thought that working for him, which is a good thing for us to segue into Sonia's other question. Working for him would be like me giving up on my dream. So I would always tell him no. Like, no, I'm trying to build my own business. Why would I want to work in yours? But I was broke and I was trying to figure this thing out. And so one year he asked me at the right time and I said yes. And that was what changed everything for me, because he believed in me so much. He saw my genius and brilliance from a mile away, and he just allowed me to sit in that. He acknowledged it. And I got to see the backside of his business. And it was no different than anybody else's business. He didn't have some magical people who didn't have the same, I can't afford it mindset type questions that were showing up. And it anchored something in for me. And so for years, I ran from being a sales coach. I've been in sales since I was 19 years old. And I wanted to hold on to the financial services stuff. I wanted to keep the identity, the forward identity that I have, the illusion that I was still being successful, even though I was at Starbucks running classes. Oh my gosh. I had a whole membership program that I recorded from Starbucks. So I wanted to keep that illusion up. And finally, I just let it go, because what I realized is I'm damn good at sales. But then what I also realized is sales is a mirror. It is a powerful mirror for how people show up. How you show up when money is introduced into the situation tells a tale on you that you can't even hide. And so I started using sales as a tool to help people truly transform who they were being in their lives. And that's literally how I came up with my programs. Like Play Big was about that. It was about, let me show you who you are when you have to deal with the money in your business. And that is going to give me paint a picture. And over time, I just tweak and change, throw out the things that don't work, put in the things that do. See, a lot of you guys throw the baby out with the bathwater. You do a whole different program. I've learned a process of tweaking things so that it works and it's refined like a well-oiled machine. My methodologies are time and battle tested. They're not just the newest, greatest things that I've come up with. And when I say time and battle tested, I don't mean the time I've been in business. See, sales has been around for a long time. How you sales psychology, human nature, it's all been around. So everything I do is rooted in that stuff. Doesn't matter if the internet goes or doesn't go, what I teach will still stand. So that's pretty much it. That's how I come up with my programs. I solve real problems for people. I solve the highest level problems for people. As you notice, I don't have any $500 programs, and I likely never will, because those programs, how I can deliver at that level, won't solve your real problem. It will open the door to solving the real problem. And I'm not about that life. I'm about solving the highest probability of you transforming in the deepest way. And so I always create programs where I can deliver stellar results and really transform people's lives. And I won't do it for any less than that. So hopefully that answers your question. There was a question, Sonia, you asked me about 9 to 5. I've never been a parallel business owner. I think I sort of answered it, just kind of alluded to it. I've always been self-employed. When I started, I've been a salesperson most of my life, fully commissioned salesperson. I couldn't be an employee if I tried. It's part of the reasons why I was stuck building my business, because I had earned multiple six figures on my own. So when I went to go apply for jobs, I had multiple degrees, had already earned multiple six figures. People wouldn't hire me for $15 an hour or $25 an hour. They would tell me I was overqualified. So I would be stuck just building my business. And so that's what I did. I built my business. And here's the thing. Once you have a taste of making money in business, like my kids are ruined because my sons play music and they can go gig for a weekend and make $500, right? Or have one gig and make $500. So they're like, work a whole month or like for how much? So when I know that I can create 10 grand in a single client or whatever, like going to work for somebody hourly was torture. I'm not built that way. So no, I was never a parallel entrepreneur. And I wouldn't even say, you asked if I went all in. Here's the thing. There is no shame in being a parallel entrepreneur. There's no such thing as going all in on your business. I mean, you could. I've had clients who have had to leave their jobs because the job was the crutch that was stopping them. And the moment they left that job, they created six figures. So that's a personal decision based on who you are. It's no judgment against you. If you need the job, to help you feel stable to build the business, then keep the job, right? There's no one way to do this thing, right? There's no like, I'm all in, I'm 100% entrepreneur. You can be, you cannot be, but you got to know if one or the other is hindering you from being the greatest, something's got to go because it's occupying the space of what you desire to create. When it gets to that point, you're going to have to take the leap, right? You're not going to build this to a certain degree and then leave because it's occupying space. You're going to have to leap before you feel ready in that to get where you're actually trying to go. And so that happens. I see it happen all the time where you get to a certain point. It's like, I got to let this go. That's a going all in, but there's no judgment against that. There's no right or wrong way to do this thing. I've seen people get there from all avenues. You just have to decide what avenue is right for you. I have always been self-employed, even when I worked for other people. So the last job I had where somebody paid me by the hour, I was 24. So all this time I have been building a business where I was responsible for the revenue that I create. And sometimes I didn't do a doggone good job of it. All right. Okay. I have some really, I said I was going to answer a couple of questions. This one, how many hours a week do you work? This one is funny. So this is somebody who doesn't know me. We don't have a relationship at all. But this is the types of questions people ask when they find out I'm running a multimillion-dollar business. And it's interesting because what it tells me is more about what you think you have to do in order to create this. So this is going to be fun for me to answer because I'm about to blow your freaking mind. 3 questions. How many hours a week do you work? How big is your team? How much do you spend on ads? All right. So let me start here. When I crossed $1 million, I was only working 20 hours a week. I had one part-time assistant. I don't even think she was working 60 hours a month. And I was not using Facebook ads. So if you have any thought in your mind that you have to do all those things, like build a team, do all of that stuff, work 24 hours, I was working 15 to 20 hours a week, and that was on a heavy week. Like my family would be like, are you working? I'm like, yeah, I have things that I do. I do those things and I go enjoy my life. And so we crossed the $1 million in 2020. At the time, it was me, one assistant, and we had some contractors that did like graphic design and some stuff like that, but it was like piecemeal projects. Me, one assistant, no Facebook ads. Okay. Now I'm dabbling in Facebook ads because I'm trying to prove if, like, as a business owner and as a person, a woman with a business degree, I understand advertising, marketing, lead generation, all of those things. So I'm like, okay, you have a real business with money now. You have money to spend on advertising, but I'm not about that life of spending $1,000 a month on a billboard that may or may not be bringing you clients. So I'm testing ads right now and seeing if it actually has an effect on my income. So far, it's a no, but we don't spend that much on ads. So I think a couple of months ago, last month we ran a challenge. We might have spent $1,500 on ads, but the months before that, a couple of $100, because we're still testing and fine tuning, and there's no need to funnel so much money. I'm willing to spend 6 figures on ads if it'll bring me $1 million, right? But we got to get the ads right and prove that they're converting. And test and see what's working, what's not working. And we're building audiences right now. We're doing a bunch of stuff. Once we get it down to a science, a well-oiled machine, yeah, I'll probably spend money on ads. Not probably, I will spend money on ads, or I'm going to pull out. I truly believe that I can get this business probably to 4 or 5 million without an ad spend, for sure. However, I'm trying to go bigger than that. And so it's going to require me to spend on invest in ads. At my lower level, I didn't do that. There was not enough money to do that. And I didn't have to. There's a way to generate leads and sales and clients and show up. Like, we have this beautiful economy called social media that allows us to do what big companies pay the Super Bowl tens of thousands of dollars to do for free. And so I've been using that, and I'll ride it till the cows come home. How big is my team? So let me tell you how big my team is now. Oh my gosh, I love my team. So we have 3 administrative people. We have, I have an executive assistant who's all things my brain. She tells me where I need to be every day. She checks my emails, all of those kinds of things. So I have an executive assistant. I still have the business manager that was the one that was with me the entire time, who's doing a lot of our like tech admin, some customer service stuff. We have a community manager now who helps me manage all the people in the online community. Because when we crossed $1 million, we did it at my live event. We brought in 44 people into my mastermind. So that grew our community very quickly. I have 2 coaches on my team currently. We're looking to add another one. So I've got 2 next level coaches who help me with the implementation and the trainings with clients. I have a CFO. And what do I have? And all of this just happened within the last 12 months. Like it's not even been 12 months since they've been on. It's within the last 9 months, all of these people are on my team because we see the gaps and the holes and we're bringing people on and we're foreshadowing what's coming, which is why we know we want to hire another coach. I feel like I'm missing somebody. We just brought on a copywriter. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's what, I totally forgot. I just hired a creative director. So, as you grow your business, I'm more in the CEO role than I am in delivery role. And so I also want to do the things that I do well, and get rid of some of the time consuming things. So I've been writing my own copy, which I'm really good at. And I'm doing my own marketing. I come up with a marketing strategy. I've learned from the best. That's why I'm good at both. My coach that I hired 10 years ago, he's like one of the godfathers of this entire industry. So I am a student of his. I am definitely a reflection of his work. Any copywriter that comes across my stuff is like, you're a beast at writing copy, and I understand marketing like nobody's business. And so having to delegate that to someone else is kind of difficult, right? And so I was able to find somebody who understands everything. I found a copywriter who understands everything. Now the team is well oiled. So that's what it looks like now. So I don't know, what is that? Like 7 people or so? Yeah, about 7 people. So that's who we have now. All of them aren't full-time employees. We have 2 full-time employees. Everybody else is still a contractor at this moment in time. That may change in the near future, but that's what it looks like. And then my hours per week. So because I have a lot of admin with training team members now, because I don't have a COO, I don't have a chief operations officer in my company. I am the COO. Any hat you don't have, you're wearing. So do your org chart and put your name in all the places where you don't have somebody. So I don't have a COO, so that's me. I'm the head of the company. I'm CEO. I'm COO. We have a lot of team meetings for different. So we have a marketing meeting. We have an operations meeting. We have a coaching staff meeting. So I'm in those meetings. And so that's increasing my hours. But in my highest weeks, I think I probably work 30 to 40 now. Mostly because of those meetings that I'm trying to get out of. So like my creative marketing director, she will take over some of the meetings that I'm doing because she's going to meet with the Facebook ads team instead of me, disseminate that information to me. So that's going to cut down on my hours. As far as coaching and delivery, I only coach on Thursdays. And so that block of time for me, I would say like 4 hours on a Thursday. And then, I do that every week. Then I have most of my programs are leveraged. So there's not a lot of working hours in there that are outside of these meetings and sales calls. So once we get the team down and I've got an operations manager and I will be working way less. So yeah, I think in the height in this season, so like in January to May, I work very light. And then the second half of the year is like my heightened, work time because of Game On Live, all of that, like moving into that. So I would say now I'm working about 30 to 40 on any given week. On a most heavier week, 40. Hey, Sandra. So still not a lot of hours. That's it. And so the only thing I want to say is whatever you think you believe that you got to work, grind it 60 hours a week. I don't work on Saturdays and Sundays at all. Ask anybody unless I'm delivering an event. Like I'll teach a workshop once. We have a workshop we do once a month on a Saturday. That's it. Or my workshop itself goes into the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, an event that I'm having like Game On Live. I don't work on the weekends. I'm hanging out, living my life with my family, and I'm not sitting at my computer all day 24/7. I do the things I need to do for the day and I leave. I get up and I go do something else. I'm a beast about time blocking and time management and self-care. All right. So there you go. And I teach my clients how to do the same doggone thing. Hey, Twyla. All right. Let's see. This is the last question I'm going to answer from here, and then I've got a couple on my sheet. Knowing what you know after having a multimillion-dollar business, if you were to change your field to design, web, and brand, what clientele would you choose to hit 100K in business fast? So this is an interesting question because this person is a graphic designer, a web designer. And so it's kind of a self-serving question, but it's okay. Because it doesn't matter what industry it is, which is why I'm answering the question, because I think this is a really good question. Doesn't matter what industry, my answer would still be the same. She gave some context. She said, I understand that you always say that coaches/businesses don't need brands or websites to hit 6 figures. So what level of clients would you target to help? So it's not really even about the level of client. This is where people get it all wrong with niching. It's about solving the biggest problems. So it doesn't matter what industry. I don't have to change my industry to answer this question. I want you to shift how you see it, right? No matter the industry, my answer would be the same, right? There's 3 types of prospects, and this is where people get it wrong in their marketing. There's a prospect who's unaware they even have a problem. They have the problem. They're just unaware that the problem exists and they're not seeking a solution for it. Then there is the one who knows they have a problem, yet they are still not actively seeking a solution. They're okay in the pain that they're in. They're okay with what they're doing. They may not even be okay with it. They're just not actively trying to solve it. Like there's business owners who work in their business 24/7. They are the employee and they only make about $50,000, $60,000 a year. And they're okay with that. They're not trying to do anything different. They want it to be different, but they're not looking for it. Right. And then there are the people who know they have the problem and they are actively seeking the solution. So I'm going to tell you this again. Unaware they have a problem, not seeking a solution. Aware they have a problem, not seeking a solution. Aware they have a problem and seeking they have a solution. Most people's marketing language, how you show up on social media, what you teach, how you make your offers, you're gearing it towards the people who are either unaware they have a problem and aren't looking for a solution, or who are aware they have a problem but aren't seeking a solution. So you're like, this is why you need a website. This is what your website can do for you. And they're like, yeah, whatever. What I'm doing is fine. One day we'll get to that, which is why you get people who are like 6 months down the line, give me 3 years, not right now. I hope all of you guys are getting this. It's not just about a website. So I want to give you an example using a car. Okay. You want to solve bigger problems and solve now money problems for people who are actively seeking a solution. If you had a company, I can't even think what they're called, a mechanic. If you were a mechanic and you did oil changes, are you going to market to people who don't have cars yet? Right? Same like in business. Are you going to market to people without businesses to tell them how much they need to get a business? You should start a business because this is what it could do for you. Your marketing's in the wrong place, right? So if you are this company who does oil changes, if we look at those 3 types of buyers, you're going to spend your money and your time marketing to people who are looking for oil changes, not to people who don't have cars, right? Or who don't know they need an oil change right now because the light's not on, or they don't need one and they're not looking for it, right? You're looking for people who are aware they need an oil change, that they do their oil changes before the light comes on. They're the ones who do the 3,000 miles, like the ongoing, and they're actively looking right now for somebody to do that for them. If you do it in that way, does that change the way you show up in the marketplace? Absolutely. You're no longer educating. You're no longer trying to convince people why they need the thing. What your marketing looks like now is, I'm the best. Here's what it costs. Right? Think about it. What types of questions are people asking when they're actively seeking you as a solution? Very different from people who don't even know they have a problem, or who have a problem and aren't actively seeking a solution. And so then you wonder why no one's booking calls with you, or the right people are getting on the calls and they're not ready. All of this stuff is because your marketing is calling them in. So you want to solve a bigger problem and solve a now money problem, and you want to solve that problem for people who are actively looking for a solution. I am marketing for people who are ready for a business coach, who are ready for a community that's going to help them skyrocket. They know there's something more for them. They want a multi-million-dollar business. They've got a multi-million-dollar business inside of them. They've got $1 billion business inside of them. They just don't know how to get there. I am not marketing to people who are trying to make $1,000 a month. I'm not marketing to people who are just like, I just need to pay my bills. I'm not that coach. So when I look at what these people are asking, I have to show up in a way that supports the questions they have in their minds right now. So that's what you want to ask yourself. Somebody who is ready and willing to invest in a website, where are they looking? What are they Googling? What answers to questions are they looking for? Who's the best in my area? Right? The problem we have with this is we want to sound smart. We want to show people how much we know. So we're like educating. And all that content is for a non-buying audience. Right? And we're mad when they don't buy. Okay? When people are looking to purchase, they're looking for who's the best, who's the most integrity filled. They're not looking for content like 3 reasons why I need an oil change. That doesn't matter to them. They know they're ready to invest in one. So you want to think about that in your business, the best, the safest, the top. It's why we market with proof of work posts in my community more often than not. My case studies and proof of work sells more for me than any other content that I do, which is why I do it so much. All right. So hopefully that helped answer your question. You want to shift your marketing, not necessarily focusing on the audience, but focusing on what the audience you want to show up is seeking right now. Focus on the buying audience. All right. I have 2 more things. Let me scroll through here and see what you guys are saying real quick. I might have missed, if you put a question in earlier, I'm pretty sure I missed it and I may not get to it. So if you really want me to answer it, you might want to type it in, because I'm going to go through these last 3 questions and then I'm out. I'll stay to probably like another 15, 20 minutes. All right. So let me look at this. So I saw a post the other day that was telling people that they had to start making $1,000 a month consistently before they can start making $10,000 a month or $20,000 a month or $30 or $50 or $100,000 a month. And I get where that sentiment comes from. However, I want to give you a different frame of thought. And here's the thing. There's going to be people out here teaching you all kinds of things from their own perspective, some from their own broken place, from their own history. You got to learn how to discern what's right for you. And remember, facts over feelings. So what are the facts? The fact is there are plenty of businesses that never make $1,000 a month that make $100,000 a month. And here's the deal. $1,000 a month isn't a viable business. So you need to get that out of your head right away. What you need to be asking is, what is a viable business? Not how can I make $1,000 this month so I can grow it into 2,000 and 3,000 and 5,000, which is why some of you are stuck where you are. Remember, I came to Stephanie going, I just want to make $500,000. She's like, what the heck are you doing? I was getting exactly what I was asking for, right? My business was growing slowly. When I opened up about my desires and started looking at how do I make this a multi-million-dollar business, I was open to the answer to that. And so you want your business to be viable. Remember, I have a business degree. So when you look at a marketing plan or you look at a business plan, businesses who go in to be viable start with the planning. And they look at how many of these things at what price points do we need to sell in order for us to make enough money to be viable, to stay alive, to stay in business. People who think they can just use the internet and have a side hustle and make money do this $1,000 a month thing. That you're not working for someone. You're creating a company. So you need a viable company that can actually sustain itself and stay alive, that could spend money on ads if it needed to. So you got to look at it in that way. How much do I need to charge in order to deliver this service and have quality output for my clients so that I can get more clients from referrals, more clients from my results? That's what you need to be looking at. Right. So it is not true that you got to make a smaller amount first and do that consistently. Some of y'all get stuck. I've had clients come straight through my lowest level program and sell a 6-figure offer and do it over and over and over again, thus creating a $500,000 a year business right in the beginning. Right. So you want to think like a CEO, think like a business owner. Here's a tip. So this is something that happens. So here's what I want you to understand about this. You get what you intend to create. You get what you focus on. So if you're only like, I got to start here, then that's what you're going to get. You got to be open, right? If that is the belief that you hold as true, if you hold this belief that I have to start small and move up, you will undercharge and you will start small and you will move up. I am open to all possibilities and I want you to be open to all possibilities. Here's an exercise that kind of saved my life when I was struggling to create money in my business. This was another really powerful moment for me. I was trying to do $10,000 a month. Like, I need to make $10,000 a month. I need to make $10,000 a month. And I could never do it. Like, I would make 3, I would make 5. Sometimes I would make 8, but then I wouldn't make any money for 3 or 4 months. It was crazy. It was just this crazy cycle. There was this elusive $10,000 a month. And this was years ago. So the $10,000 a month thing is not new. For those of you guys who just came into the internet in the last 5 years or so, it's not a new thing. So I was trying to make $10,000 a month and I could never do it. And so one of the things that I did is I was encouraged to write down, what do I need to make to pay my bills in my house and manage my business? Now, this is not how I suggest you run your business, because you need to keep your business separate from your personal. And that's an entirely different conversation for another day. I won't go there right now. However, what I want to share is some of you are not even in reality about what is required. Remember what I said about business planning? As a business owner, you plan to be a viable business. You don't plan to just get a client or make money today. You plan for the viability of your business. So you need to actually do the math. Write down all your bills in your household. What is that number? Add in playtime, vacation time, your hair, your nails, the things that you need to do. Sorry, Tommy. Well, you probably get your nails done. I'm pretty sure you're a pedicure kind of guy, mani-pedi kind of guy. So you want to write all that stuff down. So add a little cushion for fun in your life so that it's not all business and all work, right? So put that dollar amount down. Then do the same thing with your business. What are my expenses for my business? What are the coaches that I pay or want to pay? All of those things, the people that I need to hire, all of those things, and write those down and then add those numbers together. And that will tell you your minimal viable business. So I did this exercise when I was trying to make $10,000 a month. Come to find out, I only needed $3,800 a month to not be going to Starbucks to record my classes. This was during the time I was going to Starbucks. To not be going to Starbucks to use their internet, because I didn't even have internet at home. All I needed was $3,800. And I'm trying to do $10,000 a month, $10,000 a month, $10,000 a month. It took pressure off of me. I was in reality. Guess what happened that month? I made $10,000. So you got to get into reality about what's the viable business. There is no stair stepping. You don't have to stair step. If you're clear about what needs to be created, now you're in reality about the programs you create. See, some of you guys are selling $49 master classes and $9.97 courses and membership programs, and you're hoping to sell thousands of people into these things. It's not going to get you where you're trying to go fast. So what you want to look at is go, okay, if I need $3,800 a month, and I have a program that's $4,500, I'm only looking at selling one client. That pays both my personal bills and my business bills and gives me a little bit of profit. right? It gets you into reality about what you're creating. It helps you in your decision-making process for how you set your business up. That's the truth. Not that you have to start at $1,000 consistently before you can learn how to make $30,000 consistently. Yes, you have to make a sale. You have to start somewhere. And yes, you have to normalize making consistent revenue in your business, but the dollar amount is irrelevant. You want a viable business. Please don't aim for, let me just make $1,000 a month, because you're going to be frustrated. You can't live off that. And you can't build a business off of that. You need a real business where you can pay your business expenses and get the help that you need so you can stop being the chief of everything. Remember I said in the org chart, you're everything around. Some of you guys are doing so much stuff in your business. That's why you work so many hours and you're trying to figure out how many hours I work because you working like crazy doing all the things. It's not how it's supposed to work. Right? All right. Here's the last thing I wanted to share. So I said that you guys could ask me anything, all things. I even added health. And here's why. And no one asked me about health. And I want to use this as an example of how your belief systems and what you believe things need to look like may be stopping you from accomplishing it. Okay. So to most of you guys, I'm chunky. I am fat. However, and I'm going to lay it all on the line. I'll tell you guys my stats so that you know and you're very, very clear. I weigh probably about, I weighed myself this morning, not probably about, I weigh 238. I lost some weight, 3 pounds in the last week. Anyway, I weigh 238 pounds. A lot of it is muscle, but 238 is still big. Like if I were to fill out a form at a doctor's office, they would make me check a box that said I was obese. It's some stupid crap, but it's a whole nother story. So I won't get into that. But by those standards, I'm a fat person, right? I should have all these health problems, all of these things, but I'm probably one of the most healthiest people you will meet. Not because I'm making it up, but because I am. My resting heart rate is 54 beats a minute. That's athletic for most people. When I go into doctors for checkups and different things, if they're not my regular doctor, they're like, do you have low blood pressure? Because I'm fat. They think something's wrong. I'm like, no, I'm an athlete. I work out minimum 5 days a week. I CrossFit. Right? Most people watching this couldn't hang with me on a good day. In my gym, I'm one of the first people to always finish every workout. There's a reason why I'm telling you this story. Just track with me. Track with me. Like if you came to work out with me, you probably could not hang. You'd be done. My kids come all the time. Not all the time. They won't come anymore. But they're like, I'm so tired of my mom outdoing me in the workout. They're like dying on the floor, crying. And I'm just killing that. I went to go work out with my daughter at her gym because she CrossFits too. But she has been out of it. I've been in it for 8 years, right? She's been out for a while. She's starting back. So I went to her gym and I'm smashing. I'm doing what they call RX or prescribed weights, which was like 135 pounds that day, doing a bunch of other stuff. And I'm one of the fastest people that's finishing the workout, but I'm also the biggest. Here's why I'm sharing this and why I threw that in there. You have an idea that society has given you about what a healthy person looks like, right? You wouldn't venture to think that all of these things are true to me. I saw my coach actually post about his Murph time. He's like, I have a 55-minute Murph. I finished Murph in 43 point something minutes this year. Me and my 238 pounds. Murph is a hero WOD in CrossFit where you start off by running a mile and then you commence to doing 300 push-ups, 300 pull-ups, 300 air squats. And then when you're done, you go run a mile again to finish it. 43 minutes in May. Some of you have an idea of what success looks like. Because I don't have washboard abs and a cinched waist, all of those things, your assumption is that health is not a priority for me or that health is not something that I'm excellent at. Track with me, stay with me. Even though I do have washboard abs under this like layer of yummy goodness. The same is true of your optics for success. Some people look at me and go, she's not running a multi-million-dollar business. I did it to Stephanie. I told her it was true because my optics for success were skewed by other people's value system. Track with me. Here's why this is important. If you have a skewed vision of what success looks like and you think you're nowhere near it, because this is what healthy looks like. This is what healthy looks like for me today, right? I'm successful now. I'm healthy now, right? I'm in incredible shape. I just gave you guys my stats. I'm in incredible shape. Am I frustrated? Yes. I just went and got some panels done, some blood work done last week because I'm like, this is crazy. Why do I weigh so much? I'm older, so I want to make sure everything is okay. However, you have an idea of what a successful entrepreneur looks like, and it looks nothing like you. You think you're way off. Can I tell you that success can come to you today if you allow it? That thought that you have about what a multi-million-dollar business owner looks like, that looks nothing like you, is what's keeping it from you. You could have it as fast as you will allow it, but you gotta be in the success of now. Don't judge what you think it has to look like. It's what I was just saying about the stair steps, right? You don't have to stair step in your business. You can leap. You are safe to do so. I am the grandmaster of rapid success fast, and I'm not ashamed of it. Not ashamed of it at all. We help clients get there quickly. Faster than they ever would on their own, and faster than their minds would ever believe or fathom. Success doesn't take time, it takes courage. What I do every day that gets me healthy, even though it doesn't look like what society wants you to think a healthy person looks like, right? We were just talking about this yesterday at my CrossFit gym, that they're skinny fat people who look good on the outside, but they have visceral fat all inside of their body. Because they're not really healthy. It's just the illusion that skinny is healthy. What illusion do you have about building a multi-million-dollar business that has you thinking you're nowhere near close to doing it, capable of doing it? Is it the illusion that you have to work so many hours in order to make it happen? Is it the illusion that you have to dress a certain way or use a certain software? I used to believe that crap. I was broke spending money on software because the gurus were telling me if I didn't use so-and-so software, people wouldn't think I was successful. I dress like me now because I'm me. I'm going to do my extra. Y'all like my little Gucci earrings? I'm going to do me. I'm going to be team too much all the day. I'm going to put on my Adidas dress and throw on my Dylan Lex necklace and ring and rock it. I'm team too much. I'm team extra. When I walk into a room, I won't look like the majority of multi-million-dollar business owners, but that doesn't change the fact that I am. The moment I was able and willing to come into alignment with my whole self in that way, everything was possible. Everything is possible. Everything is possible. Let me read this question real quick. What illusion do you have about building $1 million business that makes you feel you're nowhere near it? Okay, she's just writing what I wrote down. That's the question for you to journal on today, to ponder. You don't have to journal it. But remember, before you can allow the truth to set you free, you must discern the lie that's holding you back. The lie that was holding me back was people who look like me didn't do this. That I had to change some way, and I didn't want to change, so I didn't create it. I didn't want to wear certain types of suits and clothes and all the things. I wanted to still be me. I wanted my purple hair, right? I want my multicolored nail polish. I want to do me, yet still have the things, right? Create the tables, sit at the tables, experience the things. And so I do now because I discern the lie. So what are your illusions about success, about being a multi-million-dollar business owner, about having a 6-figure month, about having clients that pay you in full 30,000. I just had a client do a 6-figure day. It was a $40,000 offer. There was only 6 or 7 people in the room. 4 people bought. 2 of them paid in full $40,000. Like, that's the life we live on this side of the fence, right? It's not that everything has to be a payment plan. We had to get rid of the illusion that we can't have that. You don't have to sacrifice yourself to have all the things, Stacey. It gets to look however you want it to look. I thought I had to work all the hours to build this kind of business and live this kind of life. That's not the case. People are still trying to tell me to build this huge, humongous team. And I have to step back and go, no, that's not how I want to do it. That's not how I'm going to do it. It's not about what I want to do, right? You hear all these people who were touting their multi-million-dollar businesses. They're exhausted. They're burnt out. They had the huge teams. They had this machine they had to feed all the time. That's not what I'm trying to create. I'm creating a dynasty, yes, but I'm doing this thing my way. I'm doing it the way of the download that God gave me, right? You get to do that too. You're like, well, I don't want to work with clients one-on-one. Then don't. I don't want to do group programs. Then don't. Right? Not doing group programs, you're going to find out some way you don't have that much time, but we'll figure that out when we get there. But you still don't have to. You can just charge what you need to charge, right? So the substitute for not doing group programs is to have a 6-figure program instead of charging people $10,000, because you're never going to get to $1 million one-on-one like that. So, I don't know. I just wanted to share that with you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I wasn't sure what I was going to do live. And last night it just hit me that I've been wanting to spend some intimate time with the people who have been following me on this journey. And this was the best way that I can think of how to do it. If I could pour everything out inside of me and just show you all the things, all the yeses, all the decisions, the scary things that I've done, and the going through, allowing myself the grace to grow and to expand without judgment. I don't have enough time. All I can do is just continually be an example and tell you to keep going, right? Tell you to keep going. Again, I'm going to be moving my weekly live stream into my Facebook group. Probably the month of September, we'll start doing that. So if you really want to stay connected to this community and you want to stay connected to my work, you're thinking about hiring me at some point, you want to go to powerplayerslive.com, request to join the group. This is a group for business owners, right? So if you don't have a business, it's not a space you want to hang out in necessarily. Answer the 3 questions. We'll let you in and we'll take it from there. Be on the lookout for Game On Live. It's coming. It's coming. If I can help as many people as possible build dynasties, I'm not talking about just building a business. I'm talking about using your business as a vehicle to build sustainable wealth that spans generations. That is what we are doing over here. This is not about making 6 figures and taking 9 months off. That's not sustainable. It's not going to last. Even though if that's how you wanted to look at but 6 figures, guys, is a baby business. That's minimum wage for a business owner. If that, it's probably not even a living wage for a business owner. You want to be making way more than that. And anybody that's teaching you anything less, it's not about a viable business. Now, this isn't for everyone. Some of you guys are made to be those $25,000 a year business owners, if that's what you want to do, right? If 50K, if your business is just a flow through entity for you to be able to make money and not work for the man, then go do that. But if you want to build something lasting and sustainable, this is where we do it. We're creating real businesses here that can have global impact, ripples of impact, but also mostly impact on you and your family for generations to come, right? We're talking generations after generation, 10 generations deep is what I'm talking. Lasting. Okay. So powerplayerslive.com, request to join the group. We'll review your application and let you in. Again, thanks for hanging out with me. Thank you guys for all your super kind words. Got a question. Game on Live is going to be virtual. So I prayed about it. I slept on it, got with myself, sat with God. I was struggling with this about a month or two ago. And here's what I decided. Our virtual event was so powerful. I don't create virtual events like no one else. Like, you literally feel like you're in the room. You wouldn't be able to tell. Somebody told me, I had somebody say, I looked to talk to somebody next to me and realized I was at home by myself. So we create this immersive experience. I only want to do one or the other, because remember, I'm the salesperson, right? So there's mindset and strategy and the way that we hold people in the container when they're in person. And then there's mindset and strategy, the way that we hold people in the container when they're virtual. I don't want to mix the two because they're not the same, right? And so we decided to go virtual because there's a lot of you who are still not okay with the whole COVID thing. And we don't want to have to deal with it. We want to impact the most amount of people possible. I think in California, COVID would limit the amount of people we can put in a room. And so virtual allows us to do that. And I'm praying to God that in 2022, we will be able to do Game On Live in person again. But remember, this is going to be a 4D experience with Game On Live. You will not be feeling like you're sitting in a Zoom room when you're with me. And so, yes, it will be virtual. This time around, again, for 2021. The dates, November 11th, 12th, 13th. Put it on your calendar. Keep your eyes peeled open for when we open the doors to the public. If you're a client, you better get your seat before somebody else gets your seat. Anyway, guys, thanks for hanging out with me. I'm going to take off. It's been a pleasure. I believe in you. You got this. You got this. Absolutely. If you got the knowing and the desire, it absolutely is yours. All right, guys. Mwah. Talk to you later. Thank you so much for watching my show, my channel. Here's what I want you to do. If you really love what you've been listening to, I want you to subscribe to my channel and leave me a comment. No, really, leave a comment. Like right now. I'm not going to stop talking until you leave a comment. Seriously.